Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Thursday. It's July 4th. It is 2024. Happy July 4th, Independence Day here in the States. Joined today by my good buddy, Stevietpfl TastefulTides. Tim, we got a 7-game day baseball slate. There's baseball all day. There's games and slates and everything. And both sites look like they have a nice prize pool 7-game slate. So that's what we're going to roll with today. How are you doing?
Doing well. Yeah. Happy 4th, everybody. Hope everyone has a great and safe holiday. Yeah, it's definitely an all-day baseball kind of day. I'm looking forward to it. And I think this day slate is actually pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you.
Yeah. So did a morning grind contest because it's July 4th. We're going to all be watching some baseball, grilling some burgers, hanging out in the pool, and figure we do a morning grind contest. Whatever team I build on the podcast is what I'll run out in that morning grind contest, and you guys can see what I was thinking when we were doing the podcast. So I won't change that team unless somebody's not in the lineup. Let's get into it. We got 7 games. The Wednesday slate rolling right now. I need the Rangers to score another run.
I need the Rangers to score.
Yeah, I bet they're over 4.5 on the podcast last night. So my boy Festa got his strikeout prop, but absolutely got hammered in the process of getting his strikeout prop. So it was good for the prop world, bad for DFS. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. Let's jump in. Cincinnati at New York. This game, we got Montas and Stroman facing off against each other, 8.5 total. Yankees a 178 favorite. Any interest here in Frankie Montas?
No shot. He's a very, very low K rate pitcher, high walks, gives up hard hits to both sides of the plate. I have absolutely no interest at all.
Yeah, Montas, what a dip this guy has taken over the last couple seasons. Like when he was back with Oakland, he was very serviceable there for a little while, and then it's just really kind of dropped off for him. His strikeout rate 18.5%, giving up almost 50% hard hits this season. So tough matchup already going up against the Yankees. Low strikeout, high power offense. I think I'm with you. I don't really have any interest here in Frankie Montas. Let's talk Stroman. Any interest here in Marcus Stroman?
He only has a 17% K rate. The problem is that he's actually pretty cheap, and this Reds lineup, kind of like at the bottom half, is pretty weak. I have a teeny bit of interest in him. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but I think he has a decent floor in this spot. But I just don't think he's gonna win you like a large field GPP. So I'm kind of conflicted because I think he's priced okay, but his Ks are just so low.
Yeah, I mean the price is nice, 7,700.
Yeah.
The Reds lineup banged up. We keep talking about it, how banged up this team is, and Stroman's just another below average strikeout guy. Like even on the 7-game slate, like we have plenty of strikeout pitchers on this slate, so I think I'll pass on Stroman. I'll probably play like a main team, like a 3-entry max and like a main team, and then probably like roll out a 20-entry max just for fun. And I think overall, this is a spot I'll pass on Stroman. And it's especially, I just don't know if he has the ceiling that we're looking for. And I mean, we have to like Ellie De La Cruz today, right? 256 ISO, the speed, the power combo. Candelario has been crushing right-handed pitching. Stroman has been awful against lefties. Like, what are we doing here with the Reds side of this game?
Yeah, I mean, you called it. It would definitely be those two guys. But, like you said, this Reds lineup is pretty banged up. So I don't think I'd want to full stack the Reds. I think just 3-man stacks would be fine with me. Because I just think the bottom part of this Reds lineup is just very, very weak. So it's like just one-offs of Ellie or Candelario, or just do like 3-mans of the Reds.
Yeah, I think 3-man India's been scorching. He's been hitting the ball so well recently. He's been one of the hottest hitters in baseball. So he's still only 4K. multiple hits in like 7 of his last 8 games. I think it's something crazy like that. So India, De La Cruz, Candelario would be my 3 favorites here. I don't necessarily love righties against Stroman, but you got to take the hot bat with India. Yankee side, one of the best stacks on the slate. Absolutely love this spot for them against Montas. And yeah, they're a top 3 offense for me on this early slate.
Yeah, definitely a top stack. I'm assuming Rice will crack the lineup. He's pretty cheap. He's 2,800, so that makes this stack very, very affordable because Rice is only 2,800. So guys like I think Rice, and then obviously your Sotos, your Judges, JD Davis in the middle of that lineup should be solid as well. So yeah, I assume he's in the lineup. Ben Rice is like a top value play on this slate, in my opinion, at 2,800, and then you can stack all the usual suspects around him.
All right, we got Houston at Toronto is where we go next. We got Valdez and Bassett facing off against each other. 8.5 total in this game. Houston a -120 favorite. Valdez, like, he's not generating the ground balls. He's not generating the strikeouts. He's getting hit, and Toronto has been hitting the ball better recently. Do we have any interest here in Framber?
I feel kind of similar to him as I did Stroman. I just don't think he really has the ceiling. And I mean, the Blue Jays, I had to play hot streaks, but I mean, they seem like a different team. So George Springer is on fire. Vlad seems to be getting it going also. So the Ks are just too low. Framber does do a really great job of keeping the ball on the ground, which is the only reason why I would have interest. But I think there's enough. There's better plays on this slate than Framber.
Yeah, I mean, last year in this spot, maybe you take some shots because Toronto has struggled with left-handed pitching this season, but Valdez has been really struggling overall this year. So I think we'll pass on Valdez and Bassett on the other side of this game. Like, Bassett has a little bit of upside. Houston's bottom half is definitely a lot worse right now because of some injuries and stuff, but I still don't think this is a spot we want to play Bassett.
I definitely don't. I mean, he's 8K. Valdez is cheaper. Stroman's cheaper. I'd rather play those 2 guys over Bassett. I really have no faith that he can really get through this Houston lineup with any kind of big strikeout ability. So, you know, I'm just going to transition. Like, Jordan is, I think, my favorite bat on the entire slate, even over Aaron Judge. So I think Jordan, if he even pitches to him, which he shouldn't, but if he does, I think Jordan's the best bat on the entire slate.
I will say, because they can't get like very lefty heavy, maybe Bassett's more in play if there's like 6 righties in this lineup, but I'm with you. Jordan Alvarez is a top stick on the slate for sure. Going to the Toronto side, I mean, again, like, they've been hitting the ball really well. Keith and I were joking the other day about like new pitching coach or a new hitting coach, and like they've tweaked a lot of the mechanics to some of the hitters in this lineup, and they're hitting the ball up in the air more. And it's like, hey, shocking. You get all this talent and power, and they're hitting the ball up in the air more. Man, that's just, magic. It's just magic, right? Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Springer. Again, I gave Keith a shout out yesterday. He nailed Springer the other day on the podcast. We should mention Justin Turner is on paternity leave, so he'll be out for this game, and that is definitely one of the bats that we love against left-handed pitching. So we'll see who cracks the lineup here. They're the most tilting team in baseball to stack. I may be more tilting than the Padres because they have so much talent, but I think on this type of slate, I don't get to Toronto in like a 3-entry max, but I definitely get some exposure to them in a 20-entry max build.
Yeah, definitely a 20 max, 100%. In the 20 max setting, 3 max, I don't think I can do it. Just because, like I said, Valdez does a really good job of keeping the ball on the ground. To both sides of the plate. So I really don't think this is a great upside spot for Toronto. And like you said, one of their best righties, Justin Turner's out. IKF is out also. So a little bit banged up here, the Toronto team. But I wouldn't mind just having like a one-off of Springer or one-off of Vlad.
We got Chicago White Sox at the Cleveland Guardians, 8.5 total in this game. The Guardians a 225 favorite. We got a bullpen game with Schuster opening for the White Sox, and it sounds like it'll be a full-on bullpen game for them. And Ben Lively pitching for the Guardians here. We're not touching Schuster at 7,800. He maxes out at about 60, 65 pitches at most. So way overpriced, easy fade. I'm not even going to give Tim an opportunity because it's just somebody you definitely want to fade on this slate. But Ben Lively on the other side, not like the best pitcher in the world, but he gets a fantastic matchup going up against the White Sox. Any interest here in Ben Lively?
I mean, you're right. This is a tremendous spot. 8,200, not a horrible price tag either. I personally, I'm not going to do it. I don't think he would be in like a 3 max setting for me either. I'm just a little bit concerned. Average K rate, he's really nothing special. I just don't think he's the guy that you need to win a tournament. So, yeah, in a 20 max, maybe I'd have him like 1 or 2 lineups, but in a 3 max, I think he's a fade for me.
Yeah, definitely a guy I plan on getting some exposure to. I think he kind of maxes out around 20, 25, but it's a matchup against the White Sox. He's playable today. This lineup is really, really bad outside of Luis Robert. It's just a really bad offense. Gavin Sheets is back, which definitely helps the lineup a little bit, but bottom half of this lineup is awful. There's strikeouts in this lineup. So, yeah, I mean, I can see Ben Lively just putting up 20 to 25 here, and I think that's enough to get some exposure to him. White Sox bats. Any interest here in Chicago?
No, not really. Robert, I guess, would be the only guy that I have somewhat interest in, but he's 5,100, so that's pretty expensive. But really, that would be it for me.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Lively is reverse splitsy, so like if you did want to play Luis Robert, this is not a bad spot to play him. Low strikeouts. And, that's the biggest thing with Luis Robert is he's a huge strikeout risk. But he and Jimenez would be the two that I'd be looking at in this spot against Lively. Not stacking the White Sox by any means. And then we got a bullpen game, so we're going to get lefties and righties in this lineup. Obviously, Jose Ramirez, David Fry would be towards the top of the list here. I hate bullpen games. I hate stacking against bullpen games. We do have the call up Noel at 2,500. He should crack the lineup here today. He's off to a pretty good start here in his first few games that he's played. I think he has 2 home runs in the 5 outings that we've seen him so far. What are your thoughts on the Guardians here?
I think they're viable. I don't really like to stack in bullpen games, even if it's the White Sox. The Guardians are pretty expensive outside of Noel. But, I mean, I think if you're playing a 20 max, you have to have at least a couple Guardian stacks. And I absolutely love J-Ram. I mean, I love him every slate. So I think he's fine. So, yeah, I mean, I like Houston and New York more than Cleveland. And I think there's a couple more stacks that we'll get to that I like more. So Cleveland kind of like falls into that like top 5th or 6th overall stack.
All right, we got Boston at Miami, 8 total in this game. The Red Sox a 172 favorite. Pivetta against Tyler. Any interest here in Nick Pivetta in Miami against the Marlins?
A ton. I might put him in 3 out of 3 in a 3 max setting just because this Miami lineup is so awful. And like even Chisholm, who's their best hitter, strikes out at a 26% rate against righties. So Pivetta has a almost 27% K rate on the season. Does give up a little bit of hard hits, but I'm not worried about that in this ballpark against this team. So Pivetta is probably, I mean, he is my favorite pitcher. He's my favorite pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, it was cruising last time out. I think it was like 3 or 4 really good innings against the Padres, and then the Padres hung a 9 spot on the Red Sox in 1 inning, and Pivetta was part of that. So that kind of stunk. But I mean, it's a matchup with Miami. It's a huge ballpark upgrade for Pivetta. You know, when he typically struggles, it's fly balls and hard contact. And again, like what Tim was just saying, you don't worry about that as much in this ballpark. Still worry about it a little bit, but not as much. So absolutely agree. I like this spot a lot for Nick Pivetta here. Kyle Tyler kind of getting stretched out here over the last 3 outings, 21, 65, and 81. And the 21 was really early in the season. Then they sent him down to AAA to kind of get stretched out a little bit. Any interest here in Kyle Tyler?
No, I don't. I mean, if I'd much rather attack the Red Sox with lefties. Tyler is a righty, so I'm out on him. Don't think we need to dip down that low for value on this slate.
Yeah, I'm not playing Tyler today. He's expensive. It's a tough matchup. The top half of the Boston team is really tough, so I'm going to pass on Kyle Tyler today. I don't think I'd full stack Boston in this ballpark, but I definitely could see myself using Boston 3-man stacks. I think it's very viable today. I've talked about it many times this year, and I'm going to keep saying it. But like the Miami bullpen is kind of middle of the road. There's going to be good days and bad days when you have a middle of the road bullpen, and you can erupt against a bullpen like this. So I wouldn't necessarily talk you off of a full stack, but I personally more mini stacks for Boston today for me.
Yeah, you really nailed it with this ballpark. I mean, it's one of the worst hitting ballparks in all of baseball, so it might be the worst. But yeah, it's really the ballpark for me that prevents me from getting to 5 mans of Boston. So yeah, it's really like Duran, Devers, Yoshida, Smith, like guys like that. Like 3 mans of that, I don't mind. But a full stack, I think, is a little much for this ballpark.
Any interest in the Miami bats here?
I honestly have absolutely none at all.
Yeah, I mean, you can always take shots on Jazz. De La Cruz is a guy that has a little bit of pop. Jake Berger has a little bit of pop. But yeah, I'm gonna pass today in this spot. All right, moving on. We got Detroit at Minnesota. Maeda against Ober in this one, and this game is currently at 8.5, and the Twins are a 200 favorite. Any interest here in Kenta Maeda?
I think if you really need a value pitcher and you want to pay up at more offensive bats, I think he's a decent play. I don't think he's the worst play at 6,300. He'd be my favorite of any of the super cheap pitchers. But I'm not really advocating for people to play him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there is not a cheap pitcher that you're gonna love on the slate. I'm just gonna say it like it's Tyler, Maeda, Montas. We'll talk about Tyon in the next game. I think he's like your one guy you could potentially take shots on down here. But yeah, cheap pitching is rough. It's a rough day for cheap pitching. Luckily, it's July. It's the first week of July. We have a lot of call ups. There's a lot of cheap bats, even on a 7-game slate. It's not going to be hard to find like those cheap one-offs to make your stacks and pitching work. Ober, other side. I know I keep saying in Detroit keep scoring some runs, but man, the bottom half of this lineup is really bad, and I like Bailey Ober a lot today. Like if I'm willing to roll out Festa against this team, I'm definitely willing to roll out, Bailey Ober.
Yeah, Ober and Pivetta are going to be the chalk combination on DK tomorrow. I'm very, very confident of that. And I like that. So 8,700, he should do very, very well against this lineup. So he should be able to get over 20 fantasy points in the spot. He's somebody I'm going to be rostering in cash games. Probably going to be rostering in single entry as well. So I really like the chalk on the slate of Pivetta and over.
Yep. I mean, I'm right there with you. I like it as well. Good chance that I'm like overweight on Ober and Pivetta on the slate, and just kind of see how the chips fall after that. But yeah, I like this spot a lot for Bailey Ober. Any interest here in the Detroit Bats?
Definitely no Detroit Bats for me at all. No.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Riley Green, you could always play Riley Green. I mean, he is the most talented hitter in this lineup. He's a really good hitter. When Bailey Ober struggles, it's typically with fly balls. So I don't mind maybe a Riley Green or a Veerling. Minnesota, I mean, Royce Lewis was absolutely scorching hot and then got put on the IL on Wednesday. That hurts the lineup for sure. But I still think Minnesota is stackable because the stack is still really cheap. Like Buxton is 42 or 44. Kepler's 42. Just overall a pretty cheap stack. And again, we're going to be paying up for some pitching. So I don't mind Minnesota here at all.
And I'm assuming, wouldn't Brooks Lee be in the lineup again? He's been priced.
Yeah, I would assume he's back in the lineup.
So
yeah.
I mean, this stack is extremely cheap, and Myatt is an okay pitcher, but not necessarily anyone that I want to shy away from either. So I don't mind Minnesota stacks at all. This season, Myatt only has a 17% K rate, high ISO allowed to both sides of the plate. I think Myatt is certainly an attackable pitcher. So yeah, I'm fine with Minnesota.
Yeah, Lee should be in there. I will say, like, if you are playing Lee, you're giving up De La Cruz at shortstop. So, Corey Seager. Those two guys have an incredible ceiling. So
just those two, just those guys.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Trey Turner can get the job done too. But all right, let's talk about that game. We got Philadelphia at Chicago taking on the Cubs. 7.5 total in this game. The Phillies a 126 favorite. Sanchez and Taillon against each other. Any interest here in Sanchez?
I wanted to, but I just like Pivetta and Ober so much more. I think Sanchez is fine in a 20 max setting. He's had some really, really solid games. So I think he's okay. I don't think he's going to be that popular either, since he's, so expensive. So I think he's okay for tournaments, but not somebody that I necessarily want to get way overweight on.
Yeah. See, I love him today. I think he has one of the highest ceilings on the entire slate. Cubs are like 27th in WRC plus against left-handed pitching this season. And like, he is a guy that's capable of striking out guys in a huge clip, and he doesn't give up power. He generates a ton of ground balls. We see him pitch deep into games. He's pitched over 7 innings in 3 straight games. So, I mean, he's coming off of a complete game shutout against Miami last time out, and he did it in 101 pitches. Like, it's just incredible. If they consistently let Sanchez go 100 pitches, this guy would probably have multiple complete games this year. So, just pitching really well. Does a great job limiting the damage, and the Cubs, a very beatable team with left-handed pitching. So I have a lot of interest in Sanchez today. And then Jamison Taillon on the other side of this game with the Philly bats that are out right now, Schwarber, Harper, Realmuto. The bottom half of this lineup got a lot worse. Obviously you take 3 of the best hitters in the lineup and you take them out of the lineup, and you're only beating a couple guys now. Taillon at 7,300 is like one of a few guys I think you could potentially play that are cheap. So, I mean, I don't love it by any means, but I do think that the lineup is easier overall, and this is a spot you could take some Jamison Taillon today.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge watered down lineup for Philly. Taillon is decent, good control. So it's definitely somebody that can get away with lower strikeouts, and he's cheap. But the problem is, it's like, Pavetta is only $800 more, or no, $1,300 more. But in this slate, that's not a lot. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of debating if I like Maeda more or Tyon more for the, you know what I mean, for points per dollar wise. I think it's pretty close. I don't know. I guess I'm not as high on Tyon as you are.
Hey, I'm not high on him by any means. Like if I would definitely play Sanchez over Pavetta, Lively over Tyon, but to get some ownership on multiple guys in a 20-inch max, like Tyon makes my 20-inch max build today because
Yeah.
I'm gonna want to full stack some teams today, that are expensive, and I'm gonna need some value to do that. So he makes my 20-inch max build today.
Do you
Any
like
interest? Oh,
do you like Tyon more than Valdez?
yes.
You do. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Valdez, I mean, Tyon, they're both very similar in strikeouts, but I think Valdez has a tougher matchup overall against Toronto. Like Phillies, a week ago, I would have easily said Valdez, but with Harper and Schwarber and Realmuto out of the lineup, that's a huge upgrade. That's
Yeah.
like you don't want to face those three guys. And now, like, you got Nick Castellanos hitting fourth, and he's having a year where he has absolutely no power. Kristen Patchy was in the lineup against Shota on Wednesday, so Shota almost did it, man. He was so close to having that game I was kind of hoping for from him. Yeah, I mean, Philly bats. Any interest in the Philly bats?
I think it's basically Trey Turner at 6K. Would be obviously my favorite. Other than that, I think Brandon Marsh is too expensive. I think Stott's too expensive. So yeah, not really.
Yeah, the one guy that I really like here is Alec Bohm. He should benefit from a neutral type pitcher in Tyon. Like Tyon's on a ground ball, fly ball guy. Like he's just kind of neutral. And Bohm is neutral and he hits the ball really hard. So I think a guy like Alec Bohm, it could benefit. I feel like Trey Turner is a guy that could steal some bases in this spot. So I don't mind like some one-offs, but again, one of the reasons that I have some interest in Tyon today is because I think that the Phillies lineup is kind of watered down. Any interest in the Cubs bats here?
Not really. I think this is like you said, a really, really good spot for Sanchez. So I am really have no interest in the Cubs bats at all. Don't even really want to play a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's given up 1 home run in 16 starts. He's like the one guy in baseball this year that you really just don't want to stack against. I mean, he just doesn't give up home runs. Like his home run that he gave up against this year was against the Angels. I don't know who it was against, but early in the year, maybe Mike Trout, maybe Trout hit his home run against him. I don't know.
And he doesn't walk anybody either.
Yeah,
So
throws a ton of strikes.
Yeah,
generates the ground balls. His ISO is like 63. Like it's like he just has a really good sinker, changeup, slider combination, and he doesn't get shelled. So
barrel percentage 4.8% overall, 0% against lefties.
Yeah,
so
not a guy. And the wind's blowing in Wrigley. It's like non-factorable wind, but it is blowing in at like 5 miles an hour. But yeah, I'm not playing the Cubs today. There's plenty of spots I think you could take shots on Cubs. I don't think today is one of them. We finish out the slate with San Diego at Texas. We got the Padres and we got the Rangers, 8.5 total. The Rangers are 135 favorite. We got King and Scherzer facing off against each other here. Any interest in Michael King?
Not particularly. I think there are better plays like right around his same price tag. Like I like Pavetta and Ober way more. I like Scherzer more. I like Sanchez more. Might even like Lively more given the matchup. So King really falls down for me.
I will say that King is one of a few pitchers on this slate that actually has like decent strikeout upside. He's not a great pitcher in general, but he is a guy that like can generate 6 to 8 strikeouts in any matchup because he has good stuff. He just leaves balls over the plate too much, and he's another guy that has a good sinker changeup combo. Yeah, I mean, overall, he's like a fringy play for me. If I feel like the chalky, safe, non-strikeout guys start getting too much ownership, I might roll the dice on some Michael King teams just because I think he actually has some strikeout ability and strikeout upside. So, not saying this matchup is easy by any means. Texas is really tough. Corey Seager got back in the lineup on Wednesday, so tough lineup for sure. Max Scherzer, other side, 77 pitches last time out. We're kind of expecting a 10 to 15 pitch increase again. So any interest in Scherzer if he's going to be in that 85 to 95 range?
So this is really going to depend on ownership for me. If he's going to be popular, I really don't have interest. This is a really, really, really low K lineup for the Padres. So if he's going to be popular, then no. If everyone really gravitates to like Pivetta over, then I think you can take shots on Max.
I like that analysis. See where the ownership kind of comes in. I think that is a good way to look at it. Like the Padres are still a really low strikeout team. So if Scherzer gets pumped up here, his whiff rate is down enough where, like, if he gets chalky here, but I mean, the dude still has a dominant, like, he's just dominant against righties. And, like, this lineup is still going to be pretty right-handed heavy with Machado, Solano, Kim. So overall, it'd be an ownership thing for me, too. I like that call. Any interest here in the Padres bats?
I don't think so. There's just there are way better stacks. I mean, I really like Jackson Merrill as a player, but I don't think this is a very good spot. I like Cronenworth also, but again, I don't think Scherzer is somebody I want to attack.
Yeah, I mean, you could attack Scherzer with power lefties. So, like, if you wanted to take a shot on, like, Cronenworth or Jackson Merrill, I think they're both excellent, like, one-off plays today. So I don't mind looking at Profar or Merrill as, like, one-offs because where Scherzer does struggle is, like, lefty power. And, like, those are the two power bats in this lineup that are lefty. And Scherzer's going to get some ownership today. It's a 7-game slate. He's a huge name. So he's going to get some ownership today on name alone. Michael King, like, I think he has ceiling, but when he's off, he's awful. He's a guy that can get hit really hard and throw a lot of balls. He's been pitching really consistent recently. So it would be a stack or fade. I don't think Texas is a great stack today compared to the other stacks that we have. But when Michael King is off his game and he's not throwing strikes and he's struggling with command, you can beat this guy. So that's where I'm at.
Semion's price is really falling too. It's down to 4,800. I love Corey Seager out on pretty much every slate. I think Jonah Heim is pretty interesting at 3,400 also. But yeah, overall, I don't love Texas.
All right. We play the morning grind game and then we get out of here. I'll post the morning grind contest link again for anybody that missed it earlier, and I'll try really hard to remember to post it to the comments section of the YouTube page. But there's a 91% chance that I forget. But the winner of the contest today will get a 3-day RotoGrinders Premium pass or a NASCAR 3-day pass, whichever one you prefer. We'll give the winner of the contest today. So under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you like that's cheap today to get some strikeouts?
It is really ugly hunting for Ks at these cheap pitchers. Wow. I'll let you have Tyon, but I'm trying to think of somebody else. I guess it's Maeda.
Yeah, I was taking Tyon if you weren't taking him. So I love this spot for Tyon today. So yeah, I have no issues rolling him out there. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
I will go with Bassett.
Yeah, I mean Bassett, I think is a good call. I'll go King. I do like King today, like tournament wise, but again, I think he's very boomer bust. Just overall. Over 4,000 to hit a home run. We don't even have cores on the slate, so that doesn't matter. Who do you got going yard today?
Jordan.
I like it. I'm gonna go. I feel like I said Aaron Judge yesterday, so I don't want to go Aaron Judge 2 days in a row. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go way off the board today and say Byron Buxton hits a home run. He's really cheap, and I like Minnesota today. So give me Buxton to go yard. Under 4K to get 2 hits. A lot of options. Who do you like?
I want to go Ben Rice, assuming he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I think he'll be in there. What's funny is that is who I had written down. So good call. I like that one. I'm with you. Man, all right, hold on. I gotta pull my. I had clicked off of it, so hold on. I gotta pull it back up here. A lot of options. Oh, I think I want somebody off of Boston to get 2 hits. Who's under 4K that's going to get 2 hits today? Oh, Brayu's right over 4K. Oh, you know what? Give me Yoshida. They won't be home runs, but I like his chances to get multiple hits in this game. So give me Yoshida. Red Sox to score over or stack to score over 6 runs. Who do you got? I actually didn't write down the Red Sox. I was just looking at Yoshida's pitcher when I was reading the question.
I'm going to go Houston.
I like that. I'm going to go Minnesota. Give me the Twins to score 6 or more runs today against Kentai Maeda. A guy that, again, when he struggles, he's another guy that can give up runs in bunches. So we've seen him this year multiple times give up 5, 6, 7 runs in an outing. So give me Minnesota. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like on this slate?
I'm just going to open up something real quick here. I'm trying to find some K props. Not a lot going on. Trying to find.
Listen, I'm just going to give you mine real quick while you're pulling that up. Because I want people to be able to jump on this. It's already moved to 6.5 on some books. But Bailey Ober is 5.5 on Caesars for over 5.5 strikeouts at -119. It's 6.5 on BetMGM, FanDuel, and DraftKings. So if you're interested in this one, jump on it now. It's moved on every other book. So I like Bailey Ober over 5.5 strikeouts here on Caesars.
So there's a alt team total that I like. The Astros over 5.5 at +160. I like that one. I'm going to bet that right now.
There you go. Any other final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I hope everybody has an awesome holiday.
Yeah, have a great day. If you're playing around with fireworks, be careful. I will say really quick too, like I'm really interested in Nick Pavetta's strikeout prop when it comes out. If it's at like 6.5, I think we see 6.5. I'd love to see 5.5, but 6.5. I'm really interested in Pavetta's strikeout prop. I hope it comes in at 5.5, but against the Marlins, I would assume it comes in at 6.5. So hope everyone has a fantastic 4th of July. We're back on Friday talking baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.